What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. Podcast dedicated to talking about life, Path of Exile 2, and everything in between. I'm your host, Blaze, and today on episode 30, I'm joined by my good friend, YungYdoc. Welcome on, and how the heck are you doing, sir?
Hey, Exiles, how are you? Talkative Try here, and just kidding. Sorry, I had to do that. I don't know. Isn't that what he says in his videos? I'm doing good, Blaze. I'm happy I could be here. You know, I'm not a talkative Try, but I am a yapaholic YungYdoc. You know what I'm saying? So we can still have a fun time.
I appreciate you being my plan B. You know, we had full disclosure, guys. Today, it's a little bit of a sad day. It's a happy day, too, because we got YungYdoc here. But Talkative Try was scheduled for tonight. He had some health issues that he was dealing with. And so last minute, I saw YungYdoc in the chat and was like, hey, you're up to bat, sir. And so that's where we are. This is completely unscripted. There are no talking points, no questions. We are just going to vibe for a little bit and yap. And that's where we are at right now.
Hell yeah.
So you've been playing PoE 2, right?
Yeah. I've been diving into the experience of Ray class, PoE 2. Bit of a different mission this time for 0.4.
Okay. Tell me what's your mission right now? What's the mission objectives?
Listen, so you know me in the past, right? Like 0.1, we played a warrior. We got to end game, wasn't really feeling it. Something about it felt incomplete. So we skipped 0.2, hopped into 0.3, played a warrior again, a blood mage, got to tier 15 maps, was cranking and blasting, having a great time. This time, I thought, let's do something different. Of course, it's the Druid League 0.4, last of the Druids, so I tried a Druid. But I didn't want to just go through the same game again, right? And I know my boy Blaze, and I know the community that he kind of fostering with everybody else. You guys were really enjoying hardcore. So I said, you know what, dude? I really enjoyed hardcore in the past when I played it in World of Warcraft, for example, in Classic WoW. Let's give it a shot in Path of Exile 2. So that's what we're doing. We have died 3 times. We ran it once with Plant Druid, and it was kind of more of like a all-around everything build. I was doing totems, volcano, plants, fucking wolf form, right? Really mixing it up. Jonathan's vision. And we had a good time. We got to Geonor, we froze, and then it threw our game off, and we died at like 5% on Geonor Act 1. Ran it back, tried wolf form, ran it back again after we died in wolf form and tried it in bear form, died again. And then we went back to the first build. And currently, we haven't died. We took out Monkey last night. We had a great stream. And we're currently about to take on Apex of Filth. What's her name? Queen Big Bitch. You know what I'm talking about, dude.
Queen Big Bitch. I think that is her official name in the game. Quite a creative name, actually.
Yeah. I didn't mind that. That's actually the original name that GGG came up with. Queen Big Bitch.
Yeah, dude. I've been popping into the stream quite often as whenever I can. And we do stream at basically opposite hours, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I saw the clip of you running for your life through the jungle ruins from the monkey. And I said to myself, this is the reason why we play hardcore. Because there are very few things in life that make grown men scream at the top of their lungs like a little girl while running through a video game. And that was one of them. And so yeah, I just wanted to kind of follow up with you about that. So you said it's your first time playing hardcore in PoE 2, right?
Yeah, I would consider this like my first official hardcore run for sure. I tried it last league. I think I died in like the second zone and was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. It was on the warrior. I felt like this is going to be an uphill battle. I said, F it, dude. I'm going softcore. I went into softcore. I enjoyed myself for 0.3. But this time I felt like, you know what, dude, I'm essentially playing the same game again. There's nothing new. In the Fate of the Val, before everybody found out that it was trash, I already knew personally, just because I know who I am and what I'm interested in. I knew it wasn't going to be enough for me to really like stand out and make the game significantly any different than what I just played a couple months ago and got burnt out on and went to Arc Raiders for it instead, you know? So I thought I got to try something and mix it up, dude. So hardcore has been a breath of fresh air because of that risk, because of the, you know, you're building and building and building up, and each boss fight that you encounter just becomes that much more impactful, that much more terrifying. For me, I get attached to my characters. I get attached to the build and the power creep. You're feeling good. I haven't been getting good gear, and that is one thing that I actually am despising about solo self-found. I can't even get currency to actually do any kind of crafting. So that's a huge challenge. I'm like rocking a level 6 staff at level 43, dude. Like, come on, bro. That's pretty bad, you know? And it's all because that staff had 2 to all spell skills. So I'm still rocking the level 6 staff. We spun the block on Monkey. We killed him anyways. That's great. But I need more gear, dude. I need more currency, some drops. Something's got to give. And Solo Self-Found kind of holds you back. I'm feeling handicapped right now. That's my only complaint. Other than that, I'm really loving the risk reward of just feeling accomplished. There's a sense of accomplishment with each boss you take down. Like, I did that, dude. I haven't died yet once. Not a lot of people would even dare try to take this approach to the game. Most people are going to call you a masochist, but there's a fulfilling sense of accomplishment that comes with playing hardcore.
100%, dude. I love that. And I love hearing you sort of like describe sort of the magic of this game style as game mode. And there's not a lot of people that play it, which is a damn shame, because I feel like once you get into it, it's hard to go back. Like for me personally, like the thought of playing softcore trade right now, it's just not appealing at all to me. And I'm curious if that's going to be a thing that you experience as well moving forward throughout the game. Like as you sort of grow accustomed to this like level of like locked inness that you have, this like danger, this struggle, it hits different. And then when you go back to playing without that, like that level of engagement, it just feels a bit weird. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see if you're going to kind of stay into that play style moving forward.
Dude, I don't think I will. Like I've heard, look, I like hardcore, you know, it's fun. I've played Elden Ring and all the Souls games. Like I like being challenged when I play video games in general. I don't feel like softcore will ever be turned off to me completely because of back when I played Diablo 2, I enjoyed the race to being one of the first people geared up. I don't have I don't know enough the knowledge, you know, I don't have enough knowledge to really battle these other top level streamers and people who are making their own builds. Like I'm not gonna be able to be like rank 1 world first, but I like being able to be the first, batch of people, like maybe top 50 or something. And that feeling of finding all the items first, the currency grind, seeing the inflation rise and you're always above it instead of below it or at the same level. That also is appealing to me. And it's interesting because I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if you know a guy named Snoobay. We can get into this topic if you want in a sec, but There's a guy, Snoobay85. So I went into his stream the other night and was just lurking for a little bit. Then I said, what's up to him in chat? And he's like, how's it going? He's like, did you play my build? Because I had told him I was going to run hardcore once. If I died, I would play his build. Well, you guys all kind of convinced me to like run it back, So I was like, I got to run it back for the hardcore community. So I told Snoobay this. I said, yeah, I was going to play your build, but I had to run it back. The hardcore, community convinced me to try again. Mm-hmm. And he's like, how big is that hardcore community? And I said, well, it's pretty tiny. And he goes, tiny community, tiny viewers. And so what he was kind of getting at was like, you're going to have just for the sake of being a streamer and wanting to gain more exposure and have more people in your chat and become more successful for with this and make it a full-time endeavor. He kind of made me think a little bit, and he's like, you're gonna have a tinier audience because you're focusing on a tiny community within this game when you could be focusing on the broad audience. Now, obviously, we're all going to have different opinions on this. You may really just enjoy it for what it is, and that's not like something you're searching for. But it just did make me think like, would I really be getting that many more followers just because I was focusing on soft core, or can I just play hardcore and just enjoy myself, which is what I believe. And the followers will come just based on, whether or not somebody's entertained in my chat. You know what I mean? For me personally, I think that hardcore is something that's more entertaining than just watching somebody blast through currency farming. And I feel like that gets kind of boring. But I understand people want that. So that's why they watch, because they want to be that person. They want to be powerful too. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
No, that's a great point. I've actually gone through and thought about this quite a bit. My like guiding star or my North Star for making content and doing anything related to video games is having fun. And so I've found when I was playing PoE2 for the first time in 0.1 that I didn't enjoy trading. I thought it like kind of took the fun out of the game. It made progression feel just trivialized to a certain point. And I play a lot, as you know, and so I can, you know, progress my character so quickly. And the thing is, dude, I love this game so much. I want to play it a fuck ton. And playing SSF and hardcore immediately opened up this ability to play the game so much more because the grind is slower. You die sometimes. You have to run it back. And it's just extended my enjoyment from the game. And so it's actually allowed me to have even more fun playing the game. And I know what you mean, dude. Like at the end of the day, we're content creators. We want to see number go up, you know, dopamine hit, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like I don't really want to sacrifice like my own fun. Like playing video games is supposed to be fun in order to give myself an advantage or way to gain more attention or whatever. Like it just doesn't seem like something I'm interested in. If I ever stop having fun playing hardcore, then other avenues may open up. But for me at this time, it's like, dude, it's just the way I like to enjoy the game. So I'll just keep doing that. Also, before we move on from this, or before I wanted to add something. So, you know, what he's saying theoretically is right, but then you look at some of like the biggest streamers on the platform. Like, you know, you go and hop into Quinn69 stream. He's got like 10,000.
Yep, great example.
He's got 10,000 people watching him fucking die in hardcore over and over again. It's like, I mean, on one hand, Snoob's right, but I feel like at the end of the day, you can also play hardcore and still foster quite a massive audience too. It really just depends on a few other factors.
Yeah, dude, that's why I say, like, I think he's onto something and he's correct overall on a broad scale. I think as an individual, there are certain specific people like Quinn, or even like look at somebody like Asmongold, for example, or somebody like that, right? There's certain internet personalities or just people in general that are going to have the freedom to do whatever they want because people are not just there for the gameplay and what they relate to necessarily, but for that person. And for me, I feel like I can cultivate an audience where whatever we're doing, we're having fun. So the chat is having fun. You know what I mean? And that's the way I look at my content. And that's the way I'm going to look at my stream. Like, I'm not going to put myself in a box and be like, well, I have to do this one thing because this is the way that I'm going to get bigger number because bigger number equal better person. Like, ultimately, dude, like, I agree with you. Like, I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. And that's going to show, hopefully, and bleed into the chat, and you know, people are going to feel, and that's going to resonate with people who are viewing the stream. And yeah, dude, that's my way of thinking about it. I'm going to do the same thing, and you know, you and I we'll be up there, dude, in the 10K soon enough. You know, we'll get there, dude.
One by one, boys, one by one. And for me personally as well, it's like I also think, what do I enjoy watching? And I'm not going to lie, like when I'm watching somebody play PoE 2. It's so much more enjoyable from my personal perspective as a Twitch viewer and a streamer to watch somebody play hardcore, because there is that like, what's going to happen? Oh shit, they like the monkey just spawned out of the temple seal. Like, oh shit, this is I'm pausing my game so I can actually like pay attention. You know what I mean? Where when I'm watching, and this is no shade to any softcore player, but when I'm watching, it's like they're just like blasting and, you know, tinks are happening. And I understand that is also, you know, hitting the dopamine receptors in all the right places as well. But there's not that like excitement that like, oh shit, like I'm going to pause the game to like watch whatever you're doing with very few outliers. So yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, at the end of the day, kind of what we said, just play whatever you're having fun with. And yeah, that's I think a perfect way to look at it.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
I did discover the secret to SSF though, and I wanted to share this with you. So there's a website called paytowin.com. And if you go to that website and you download the streamer client, I know everyone talks about the streamer client. I had no idea what it was. So it's apparently a thing that you can buy. And so let me put you onto this website and get you set up with the streamer client, because my drops this league have been fucking insane after I installed the streamer client, dude.
Have they? Okay. Yeah. Send it to my WhatsApp. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually crazy, bro. Oh man. So yeah, what are your sort of your thoughts about like the just like the general experience going through with the Druid? How's it feeling? Because I haven't played the Druid at all. Like it's funny. I feel like I'm the only one who like hasn't played it. And
really,
so yeah, I did. That's a lie. I did play the Wolf for like maybe 10 minutes off stream, and then I died. And I was like, no one needs to know about this. It's off stream.
Yeah, no one needs to know about that. Yeah,
no one needs to know about this. So yeah, tell me how it's feeling from your perspective.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is gonna be crazy for me to like. It's crazy that I even feel this way, because I almost thought like maybe I'm just tripping right now. Maybe I'm just like in the moment. I think Druid is my favorite class in the game. And I'm not even utilizing the entire arsenal and everything that it can do. But what's ironic is I actually like Jonathan Rogers' vision, which is like a hot take, I guess. I like the idea that I have to use all my abilities. I like the masochist approach. I feel like hardcore players should also be more receptive to the idea that you do have to like use your brain for fights and mechanics. Now, mind you, most of you guys are out here like killing bosses in like fucking 10 seconds, and your boy YungYdoc's out here having a 5-minute fight with Monkey in the Jungle Ruins, okay? Imagine puckering your butthole up for 5 minutes straight, dude, okay? Start getting, cramps. Anyways.
That Razor Naga mouse is collecting dust, dude. You're going to have to get the MMO mouse out and just, keybind 17 different macros.
What are you talking about, brother? We've been binded out since like 2007, homie.
That's great.
Yeah, let me get back on track. So I would say Druids become my favorite class, and what's interesting about it is because I started out as a warrior through and through. That's what I like to play. Any RPG I play, like for example Diablo 2, I'm a barbarian. Sentinel on Last Epoch, blah blah blah. When I started playing the Druid, I like the fact that, number one, you get to be all these different animals. I grew up, dude, like I wanted to be a zoologist someday or zookeeper. Steve Irwin was my hero. Like I want to be like, out in the wild, like just seeing like animals up and close. So now it's like I get to shapeshift into these really badass, non-furry, badass, like bear and crocodile and, the wolf. And it's like, it's sick. But on top of that, you can seamlessly, pop up the volcanoes or the totems or the plants. And it's like all of this can become integrated. And that's like Jonathan Rogers' vision, is like being able to bounce around to all these different spells. Now, obviously, as you get further into the game, this becomes kind of like, okay, you got to pick your poison. You got to choose what you're going to actually go with, because a lot of these are starting to fall behind, and everything combined, it starts to get kind of messy, and it's just like too much. So you can't get 5 buttons off all the time. So you have to kind of choose. But going from playing Warrior in 0.1 and then 0.3 and then trying a Blood Mage in 0.3, it opened up my eyes when I played that Blood Mage to be like, okay, maybe I do kind of like casters, right? 0.4, now I'm playing a class that can not only be a warrior if it wants to be, but I can then pop out in a second and pop out a Thunderstorm, which like one of my favorite classes in World of Warcraft happens to be the Shaman. So I like the fact that like you can be everything all the time. And on top of that, by the way, I primarily focused on plants day one of 0.4, and it's been awesome, dude. I love it. I love the Thunderstorm, the plants coming out and the tangling vines slamming down. Like, I don't know why. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do, but that has been like I've had my eyes set on that more than any shape-shifting, and the shape-shifting just kind of added an element of like role playing, And I don't know, dude. It's just become my favorite class. I love it. I dig it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel like there hasn't been too many ARPGs that have nailed it. Like the only one that comes to mind for me was sort of like the classic Diablo 2. Us old men been playing this game for 25 years, blah blah blah. But
hell yeah,
it was the first time that I ever played as a druid, and the only other time I think I've ever tried it was playing on Diablo 4. And there felt like there was a huge sort of like shift in the way that the druid was approached, I guess, in Diablo 4. And so it's kind of cool to see that like, PoE 2 is so inspired by Diablo 2 for so many different reasons. But I feel like they definitely took like some really good inspiration from D2 and brought it into like Path of Exile 2, while also I would say innovating on it. Like, as you said, the ability to like swap back and forth. It looks cool. And I feel like from the very, very minimal amount that I played, it also just feels really good. Like when I was playing on my wolf for 10 minutes, I was using like Frost Bomb to do and like exposure, like inflicting exposure, and then swap back into wolf, do the ice attacks. Like it was wicked, and it all just seems seamless. So they did a really awesome job with the talisman and just how it like affects new builds and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really good job by GGG for sure.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, so have you dived into the temple like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom at all, or?
Okay, I guess apparently from what I've like read online, I didn't know that just like everybody else pretty much, right? We didn't know that the temple was kind of something that you needed to know what you were doing. Like you can't just go path however you want. I didn't realize that until like 2 days ago. Okay. So my pathing I'm assuming, is completely destroyed. I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought, okay, let me just get to the end. Let me just stack whatever rooms I want. You know, I picked up on like the tier 3 thing situation, you know, like tier 2 room, tier 3 room. I picked up on that. You know, that was pretty self-explanatory for me personally, you know. But I didn't realize that the pathing could get destroyed. I don't know. There's a lot of like, people are pissed about the fate of the Val League, right? They don't like the mechanic. They feel like it's lackluster. What I will say is that even for me in campaign, Fate of the Val and going into this temple feels like a thorn in my side. It feels like, it's derailing me from like what I want to continue to do.
Okay.
But at the same time, I feel like because I'm on hardcore, because I'm trying to gain as much overhead on my levels compared to like my boss fights as possible, I do end up clearing them because I think to myself, well, I need this extra experience. You know, I need these XP points so that I can get higher levels so that the boss fights, you know, I have a little bit more leeway, especially with like my gear deficit that I'm in right now. So I don't mind it for that aspect, but it does feel uninspiring. It does feel kind of stale. You know, it just feels kind of clunky, I guess, right? Like there's something off about it and I can't put my finger on it. And I don't want to like give in to what everybody else is thinking, like, you know, just appealing to the mass, what is that, like the unanimous hive mind. But yeah, I do. I have to agree that there is something off about it. I'm not like super hype on it. Like I'll do it for now, but I think like when I hit maps, if I get there, I don't think I'm gonna really dive into the temple, dude. I'll do Abyss, you know what I mean? But like I'm just gonna stick to maps. It seems like it's just a complete waste of time. So
it's rough, dude, because I've been the exact same way playing through the game. Like I did the temple basically every time I could throughout the campaign because it has such good rewards. Like I was juicing up my weapon every time I went in there because you get like the quality bench, you get the exalts, the regals, you know, all that, the alchemy orbs, and on fresh league start, like all that stuff makes such a huge difference. So I would say personally that the temple worked so well for the campaign to just make it easier for people. Like every single time I went in there, I would like make sure that my crossbow was 6 modded with 20% quality. And like, that just makes such a huge difference on like any build, right? When you have a really good weapon. And then you get to the end game and all of those rewards just don't elevate. They don't like increase or whatever. Like I was talking with Gazzy about this in the last pod. Like when you get to the end game, I feel like there should be a chance that like those exalt benches turn into like greater exalt benches or even like a perfect sometimes. You know what I mean? Like that in itself for us SSF boys would make me dive in there like short round every single time because I have items that I need to finish crafting. And like if I can use a chance to get a perfect greater or a perfect exalt, oh my God, dude. Like, and that's just like one aspect of it that I feel like would be massive. So yeah, no, I feel you on that, man. I haven't killed Ziri. I'm pretty scared. I saw one of the homies do it the other day, and it looks terrifying for melee builds. Thankfully, I'm playing range, so I can just stay the fuck back and shoot grenades at her and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to fight her. Probably we'll do that once the character's done with. But yeah, dude, I know what you mean. It's like it kind of feels like a rug pull because I was really looking forward to the end game stuff, and so you know, it is what it is, I guess, for now.
Yeah, and I mean, we could dive into that whole topic too about like, I don't know, man. I feel like gamers are fucking spoiled rotten, dude.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, go on.
Cry babies, dude. Go find something else to do. Like, go fucking walk outside, bro. Like, chill out. 0.5 is going to come around. They're going to do all this shit that it's going to blow people away. People are going to be like, oh, I never doubted him once. Like, hey, dude, fuck off. You were crying like a little bitch back in 0.4 because you didn't get what you wanted. It's like, it ain't that easy. And if you're not a creator, if you don't know what it's like to sit in a room with other people and have to try to organize and orchestrate all of these little pieces to come together as a puzzle to create all of this kind of, this game, like, okay, if you don't like what Grinding Gear Games is doing, you go make the fucking game then. See how far you get, dude. Like, I understand these people are getting paid and this is what they do, but you got to give them some credit. They're balancing 2 different leagues and pumping this shit out back to back 4 months apart. Like, that's a lot of work, dude. Like, they're not in there just twiddling their thumbs, though it may seem that way. obviously they have a lot more stuff that they're already working on. They're probably already working on the stuff beyond what they have for 0.5 right now. The way that this works is like people they just don't understand because they're not in these people's shoes. They're not in the developer's shoes. This is a very difficult thing to pull off. And even I can't even fully understand or grasp it. But I at least have like the awareness of like, give these guys some credit. And if 0.4 comes out and it's just the Druid and it's like, oh, by the way, everybody was like crying for the Druid to come out. It comes out and it ain't enough. Abyss is still there. So what's the problem? Because you don't like the other new thing? Well, at least all the other stuff that you claimed you love so much is still there. So what the fuck is the issue? Wait till 0.5. And if you don't like that, go play a different game. And if you don't want to do that, go to the gym. Go for a hike. Go do something else, dude. You ever hopped on a fucking treadmill, bud? Chill out, dude. Everything will be okay, bro. Everything will be all right.
No, bro, I hear you, man. I feel like that's kind of been my mentality going through this league is like, regardless of the disappointment and like the lack of, promised end game changes. And I think that's the outlier, right? Is that, if someone tells you that they're going to show up to your house for dinner at 8:00 and they don't show up until 12 and you had prepared.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I'll be on the pod. Yeah, I'll be on the pod at 7.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. Try. I love you, dude.
If I make you a nice dinner and you don't show up until 12 and everything's gone already, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed that YungYdoc was. I was excited, to have some beers with the homie, have a nice meal and all that kind of shit. And even if you brought gifts, like even if you brought me a nice little Druid figurine and a nice little temple figurine, I'm still gonna be like, bro, we were supposed to have dinner together, right? And I think that's kind of the sentiment with a lot of players, and it really just comes down to like communication, right? And like this is something that I think we're all working on, like as people, right? Like we all can improve our communication in some form. If you can't achieve something, it's probably better to just say, we'll get to it when we get to it, rather than like hard locking info. Because, us people who play PoE2, we love data, we love numbers, we love like diving into the nitty gritty and all that kind of stuff. And so when dates are thrown around, I feel like we get excited, right? Like we're counting down the milliseconds until we see how the vision of this end game kind of gets revitalized. And so, but yeah, bro, I completely agree with you, man. Like the game is still just as good, if not better than 0.3, which is an absolute banger league. Like, like that's how it is. I'm having fun blasting Abyss over and over again, hopping into temples and shit like that. And I feel like, honestly, crafting feels better. I think it's in a better spot now. They took out these like items called homogenizing or omens of homogenizing exaltations. I don't know if you ever used one of those, but
I don't even know what that means.
They were pretty broken in 0.3. They basically allowed you to like deterministically craft like best in slot items like every single time. And so now they've kind of reverted it back to like there's determinism up to a certain point. But then the homie Scrimps was in the chat today and he had a perfect analogy. He said, at the end of the day, crafting comes down to being like Bob Ross. You just have to get brave and make some bold strokes on that canvas and pray for some happy accidents. And so it's a cool balance now of like
just some happy little accidents.
Exactly. Just some happy little gambling. But yeah, man, I'm happy with the game overall. I'm still having fun. And I look forward to seeing like where we end up in 0.5. And surely we'll see the end game changes then.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I think back to like Diablo 2 and like how we played the shit out of that game nonstop. Like I made an analogy, like, dude, remember being like 12 years old when like you would go to the store and you just see the cover of the game and you go, well, I hope this is good. You get home and it's either good or it's not. And then you end up just playing the game anyways, because it is the game that you have. And you most likely probably beat it, or maybe you don't. But, back in the day, dude, you were just happy to be playing video games, period. Now it's like, dude, people are so meticulous and so critical about every last little thing. And it's like, dude, I think a lot of people find their self-fulfillment and purpose and accomplishments all within how they perform in a video game. And I don't think that's healthy. You know what I mean? And that's something that a lot of people probably don't even realize is happening to them. And then other people just like to cry and complain because they're miserable in their lives, period, But I don't know, man. I like, me, I've said this before in the last podcast. I like looking at like the psychology behind like how people behave. For me, it's like easy for me to just, if a league's not good and I'm not having fun, I don't need to tell anybody about it. I don't need to make a video about it. Unless it's just to have fun and like just troll and be like memey. But like how I actually feel at the end of the day is like, I just go, Oh well, and I turn the game off. I go play something else. Like I said, I go outside. Like I spend more time with my wife. Like watch some shows. Like there's so many other things, and my time is so limited. I don't have time to sit here and be like having a catastrophe, within my life, like an existential crisis because Path of Exile 2's current league isn't good, but in 4 months it's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, man. I feel like, dude. I don't know if you've ever seen the creator Josh Strife Hayes, but he has some really great takes about like MMOs and video games and audiences of video games and stuff like that. And he'll get in a lot of shit for basically hopping into a new MMO, leaving a review for it, and it being negative and basically critiquing like, the issues for the new player experience and stuff like that. And what he describes has kind of resonated with me for a lot of video game communities, and I think Path of Exile is no exception, is that when you spend a lot of time playing a particular one single video game, you develop like almost a parasocial relationship to that game, and it becomes like a part of yourself. And I think that this kind of happens like subconsciously, like you said, like you end up spending a lot of time watching content about this game, learning the intricacies of how to play the game, etc. And so when something bad happens to the game, it almost feels like for players that something bad is happening to them. You know what I mean? And it's like, that is right. That is unhealthy for sure.
So usually we just send those people to a doctor, get them dialed in on a nice dose of something. You know what I mean? That way they can be a functioning member of society and understand the societal norms, of like what's like normal and what's not, normal behavior. So, yeah. Just kidding.
It's
do you feel like you fall into that category? Do you feel like you've kind of built this parasocial relationship where like if you didn't have Path of Exile 2, like you almost wouldn't, like you'd kind of be lost and like beside yourself? Like, what do I do now?
That's a good question. I feel like for me personally, like I love this game so much, and I feel like it gets lost. I think Dead Rabbit had explained this perfectly on one of Try's more recent podcasts, where he was like, a lot of people forget that this game still has, even if there's something that happening within the game that people are upset about, it still has incredible gameplay, incredible audio, incredible visuals, all of these things, these moments that we forget about because we're so focused on the negatives of the things, these minuscule little changes and things that we want to improve upon. But I try to remind myself, like, there still is for me that magic of like, when I'm playing the game, I still feel like, wow, like this is like an evolution in like the genre to me personally. Yeah. And like, I see those Diablo 2, like the essence of it, like flowing out still. And like, I love it, man. And so for me, like, I don't know if that answers your question, but I try to remind myself, like, beyond the criticism and the things I would rather change, the fundamental game itself is something that I really enjoy. And for all of these beautiful reasons.
Yeah, I think for like you specifically, I think you're like one of the people that I would think of at the top of the list of like people that are like truly passionate about the game. Like you actually, like you fucking love it, dude, to the point where you've made a podcast where you want to talk about the game with 30 people, 30 episodes, 2 hours each. You know what I mean? And I think that's awesome, dude. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all, of course. And I'm not saying anybody is saying there's anything wrong with it. I think it's really cool, dude, to see somebody who's passionate about something specific. Like I played World of Warcraft. I've never missed an expansion in World of Warcraft. I've died down on it, but there was a time where like, dude, if I didn't have WoW, to escape my reality, like I don't know what I would have done. I think World of Warcraft quite literally saved my life, and Diablo 2 may have been the start of that until I went into WoW. But, yeah, games are heavily impactful because it's not just the game itself, too, but it's also the community that you've built. So I think there's a huge extension for you personally of like, the boys, the homies, all the pods that you've done, this content you've created, viewers that come in, names that you're starting to recognize. It becomes a little bit of a community, a little bit of a family. And that doubles down on the fact that one, like you just said, the foundation of the game is really good on its own, but now you've got this human aspect coming into play that's tying it all together. That makes it that much more special. And right now, if you try to go play Arc Raiders or if you try to go play World of Warcraft, for you to get the same sense of camaraderie from those games would take you another year or more to build up, right? So I think that is also something to be taken into account, is just how awesome the viewers are, the support from others, and just that human contact even through screens. So
100%. I think kind of on the flip side of it, like absolutely super passionate about the game. Obviously wouldn't do all of these things basically without having that sort of love for it, right? But I think like on the flip side, it does become, or it has become a part of me. And so I think like as a byproduct of that, as much as I don't want it to be a thing, there probably is like some sort of parasocial relationship to the game. But I try to hone in on that as much as I can and remind myself that like I am not like just like the game isn't just me. Like, you know, it's a part of me that I'm very passionate about, but I have so many other passions and things that I love to do. And so, yeah, man, like I think that for some people, maybe like video games are like all they have. And I think that that's when it gets into the dangerous territory where it's like, this is the only thing that I enjoy and there's nothing else. And so it's like what you said, you have to kind of like step away for a bit and like figure out like what else can I do to help like balance things out. And that's kind of why I talk about balance so much on this podcast, is because it's important, dude. It's important to not only spend all this time, you know, enjoying these games, but enjoy other things in life too, because life has lots of cool shit to enjoy.
I was turning my mic off for a second. There's like sirens going by. I got my windows open. So there's like plane. I live next to an airport kind of, or I'm at least in the line of when an airport, you know what I mean? An airplane is taking off or landing. They fly directly above my house.
True.
So that's why I turned my mic. So they were like right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Everseen right now is like, he's like laughing my ass off. The problem is people don't play other games. So, I mean, yeah, to that point, I mean, and that's true. Some people are like locked into the one and they're not interested in other games because they're like, I could go play another game, but I just want to play my game, you know? And so, yeah, people love PoE too, dude, for a reason. It's a good game. It's the best iteration of an RPG today, by far.
And they've engineered it that way too, where, you know, they keep you on the hook, right? With the every 4-month cycle and what used to be the every 3-month cycle. Like that in itself is kind of genius because it keeps people coming back and enjoying it again and again and again. And once that cycle becomes like an intrinsic part of your life, it's like now I'm thinking personally from my own experience, like I want to play other games, but that can only happen during the downtime between leagues, which is kind of crazy to say, but that's what they've engineered, right? Like that is it's the stuff that people love. And that's what makes people only want to play PoE, is because there's new stuff that GGG spoils us with every couple months now, every 2 months, basically, if you play both games. And so I can't really blame them if they only want to play a PoE, because GGG's done a damn good job of making sure that like it's on your radar as much as possible.
Yeah. And I'm glad, by the way, for me personally, I feel like I get my fix from playing PoE 2 and then not feeling like I have to go and play Path of Exile 1 because, dude, and for me, it would be too much because I like that freedom of being like, okay, there's a little bit of a down season, a down slope. I can go explore other genres. Like Arc Raiders for me, dude, has been a breath of fresh air. And I've even, you know, uploaded my second video today on Arc Raiders. And I've just been having a lot of fun with it, dude. Doing the whole like proximity chat for me has been kind of more enjoyable than trying to sweat it out and do trios and PvP constantly, because I've lived that life. I've been at the top, you know, tier level in you know, Counter-Strike back in the day and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And that didn't really do anything for me except for in that moment just feeling good about myself. Now it's like I'm here to have fun. So my new enjoyment with games is like that, like a shooter, is I'll have fun PvPing, don't get me wrong, but like interacting and having these funny proximity chats with people, like other human beings, it's so raw and sometimes even emotional in a way. Like you can even sense like the goodness in somebody, or like the decisions that somebody makes to backstab you, you know. It's like you almost get a sense of like, this guy's legitimately a piece of shit, you know, because there's people who like can't kill somebody in Arc Raiders, and you know that like that's a really good guy. That's just a good guy. It's a good person, you know, and you can sense that all through just hearing their voice. And it's pretty interesting, man, that dynamic. I have a buddy of mine that thinks that they're using Arc Raiders right now to see how we're gonna how things are gonna pan out when society hits a fan with a dystopian future. Like if we have an apocalypse, like Arc Raiders is like the first glimpse into like how people are actually going to react to people, like to each other. I don't know. What do you think?
I 100% agree, dude. I've always said, and I played extraction games and survival games like Arc Raiders before. And something that I picked up like pretty early on was when I played like Rust or played Tarkov. And I kind of said, these games bring out the best in people and they also bring out the worst in people. And these games show people's true colors as well. Like I was in an Arc Raiders raid and I met some dude. I was in like the desert level. I can't remember what it was called. And there's a hospital there, right? So we go to the hospital, and this is at like the very beginning of the raid. And I meet this guy. We're voice chatting. He's super friendly and all this type of stuff. And we do the whole run together. Like we're in solos and we just do the whole run together. And we're watching each other's backs. We're taking out arcs. We're looting up. We're breaching doors. And as all raids do, it comes to an end. And so we head down to this subway station, and there's a few other guys down there. And so I'm like, oh shit, let's all extract together. And so this guy, he's like, yo, I want to take a screenshot of all these nice people that I met in this raid. Let's all stand in the dark corner in the subway station. So he's like, go line up there. And so he puts us in there. We all are like posing, dancing, having a good time. He pulls out a fucking grenade and fucking throws it into the thing. And this is the dude that I've been vibing with for the last 30 minutes. We're like talking, where you from, how are you doing, all this type of shit. And then he tries to kill all of us at the very end. Like it's 100% a simulation, bro, of what's going to happen when the world ends.
That's, first of all, that story is hilarious because when you said like everybody's like dancing, like playing flutes, there's that, I don't know what, even like the emotes are funny to me where like the characters are like, yeah, let's go. And they just start doing this like shitty little dance or whatever. It's like, I can imagine everybody just like vibing out, dancing, having a good time playing. Now they got guitars in the game and maracas, everyone just chilling. If some guy just throws a grenade. I would say that like, ever since he thinks it's worse in the chat right now. And I mean, for me personally, dude, the way that I see it is I'm not going to trust anybody, when it came down to it in a real life scenario. But I also feel like there's got to be some level of like, this is real now, like human empathy. In a video game, you can kind of get away with doing certain things, right? Like when we were 12 years old playing Grand Theft Auto, we killed as many people as possible, blowing up buildings and cars and stealing and punching people in the streets until the whole SWAT team and the FBI and CIA is all on your ass. I feel like you would hope anyway, and maybe this is me putting too much faith in humanity, but you would hope that because it's a real life scenario, somebody's not going to throw a grenade on 5 dudes vibing out. You know what I mean? And hopefully you'd be able to surmise that like that guy's going to do that. But this game, certainly to your point, this game has certainly taught me that even if somebody seems really friendly, they could be lying to me the entire day. Maybe I find somebody on my travels, like in an apocalyptic setting. He seems really nice, this and that. And, even for myself, I feel like I'm like pretty good at judging somebody's character and like their vibes and like, subtle hints that they give. Maybe you're sleeping that night with that guy that you trust and now he kills you in the middle of your sleep or he steals something from you, right? It's like classic, like 101 should have, not trusted anybody. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to trust anyone, but I would pray that humanity wouldn't go as far to throw a nade on 5 dudes vibing out at a campfire.
Especially after we bonded so heavily. That was what crushed me the most. I was like, how could you do this to me? We've just bonded over this whole raid, bro.
And you kind of felt a little something, right? Like you kind of felt betrayed. Like you felt bad.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's like, not everybody's like that. And I think it's like to your point, there are so many good people out there that, you play through the raid and you just extract and it was great. And they were friendly and nice. And then you maybe even add them as a friend later and say, yo, let's run it back. But yeah, like, dude, I don't know if you've ever played this game Rust before. I feel like if you enjoy the whole VoIP aspect, you may or may hate Rust. But have you ever enjoyed that game before?
I played it a long time ago. It's the game where you start off naked with like a rock, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The thing I didn't like about that game, though, ironically, I wish Arc Raiders kind of had it, is how everybody had these like fortresses and everyone already had guns and you're running around with a rock trying to figure things out. And I didn't like the difference in like power that people had against each other. And like, you die and you lose everything. But I knew like back then the kind of gamer that I was, it wasn't hitting me. I may be more inclined to play it now, but then I also think to myself, well, if I have Arc Raiders, would that game suffice or would I just want to play Arc Raiders, I
understand. I think Arc Raiders, and this is no like shade towards Arc Raiders at all, but I think it's like baby's first extraction game. And what I mean by that is like the stakes aren't that high, which is why it's so successful. It's like, it's appealing to a wider audience, I think, but in still a really fun way. Like you still can get mad when you lose all your shit. You bring in like a pink weapon and a bunch of good shit and tier 3 shields and you die somehow. You're like, fuck, dude, now I have to like go back in and gear up again. But the cool thing about Arc Raiders is that like you always have that free kit, right? That free, you know, if you want to fall back, or even if you have gear and you want to just vibe out and like go in and not risk anything, you can do that. And that's nice. And I think that's why I call Arc Raiders baby's first extraction game. Whereas like compared to Tarkov, like for instance, like Tarkov is kind of like the grandfather, the granddaddy of extraction games, right? Like you have a scav, which is basically like a free kit. It's randomized, just like Arc Raiders is, but it's on a cooldown. It's like, I think it starts off at like every 40 minutes. So if you use that and you die, and then you keep dying on your main raider, you can just go down atrociously until you have to go back in with the scav. And so I feel like that's kind of why Arc Raiders has become so successful. It's just so much easier to get into and less stakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I got a lot of homies that have played Tarky, they call it, for quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. There was something about that game in particular where I felt like it seemed I understand the appeal, but for me, it was like there wasn't enough there. Also, there was like, at the time, I didn't fully understand the pricing. Like people were throwing out ridiculous numbers, like, oh yeah, it was like $500 or something to play. I don't know if that was back in the day when they were like still in alpha or something. Yeah. But I was like, there's no way in hell I'm giving that much money to play a game like that. You know, that's what my, train of thought was. Now seeing like Burnt Peanut, for example, I was introduced to his content because I've been playing Arc Raiders, because he got big on Arc Raiders. And then I saw like some of his older clips and like older gameplay of him playing Tarkov a lot with a girl named Gingy.
Yep.
Yeah. And I started to kind of give it a second chance and look at it a little bit with a different perspective. And I think I could get into it, dude. I've even seen Timmy play it a little bit, on his lives a couple times. And it seems pretty chill. It seems very like you're investing a lot. And if you die, it sucks. But yeah, I might give it like a spin. Maybe they do like an updated Tarkov or something someday. I might give it a try.
So the game has been in like beta or like early access or however you want to call it for like 8 years. And it actually just got its like 1.0 release, I believe, in November, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And so it was a pretty big time for Tarkov. It's actually been popping off quite a bit. And I will say, like, from my experience, I have like 2,000 hours in the game. Some of my favorite memories of gaming have been from Tarkov, and some of my worst memories of gaming have been from Tarkov. The swings are just so high. And I think that's why people love it. And there's actually quite a bit of crossover from like ARPGs, because the game itself, Tarkov, is so knowledge based. I mean, you can be a mechanically amazing shooter. Like if you've played Call of Duty, Counter-Strike and all that kind of stuff, like you probably can click on a head faster than some folks can. But like the realism aspect of the game is really where it comes into play. Like there's different types of body armor. They're made of different materials. They have different weights. They can absorb different types of ammunition. There's like 700 different bullets in the game. There's like 1,000 different modifications for like a single gun that you can do. It's crazy, bro. And then basically, I don't know if you know this, but every time you go into a raid, you know how in Arc Raiders you have a map, right? In Tarkov, there's no map. There's no HUD. There's no anything. So you don't know, if you've just hopped in for your first raid, you have no idea where the fuck you are. You have no idea where to go, and you have no idea how to extract. And so that is the knowledge sink. And that's how it feels so good when you play the game, is because after you play for a couple thousand hours, you go into a map, you go into customs, which is like one of the first maps you go into, and you're like, oh, I know exactly where I am. I know exactly where all the best loot spawns. I know where all the other players are spawning as well, because I've played the game for so long. And so the knowledge aspect kind of builds up over time, and that's what feels super rewarding in that game. Sure.
See, so that, just knowing that makes me not want to ever play because fuck that. I'm not. Yeah. Not gonna have people have 8 years of advancement over me, and I got to learn fucking all these different maps, and I'm just like out there with like, no, I'm good.
So the beautiful thing,
I'll play Arc Raiders.
It has PvE now, so I'm not trying to sell you on this at all, but I think a lot of people have had the same opinion that you just said. Where like, yo, I'm not going in with people who've been playing the game for 8 years against me, where I don't even know where I am on the map, and so. Yeah, like it's cool. You can play PvE. I think that's what Timmy was playing on his stream now, where you go in and you're just fighting against AI basically. So it's a great place to like hop in, learn the game, and then if you want to like take it to the next level, you can like fight against other players like in PvP.
Okay, that's fair. That's not bad. Yeah, you play against AI. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dude, last time I had you on the pod was like, it's got to be like 6 months ago. So
Has it been that long, dude?
I think so. It had to be like 5 or 6 months ago. Like time has gone by. Like
Wow.
dude, 2025 is almost over. It's gone by insanely fast. I just wanted to kind of follow up with you about just like the content creation stuff. So I think when I had you on the pod, you had just recently released the State of ARPGs in 2025, and that video did extremely well. And so how has like content creation been going for you since then, man?
Oh man. It was a little rocky for a minute there, dude. It was like a kind of a little bit of a roller coaster because then I released my personal favorite video, which was what your ARPG says about you. And I feel like most people in our chats have seen that video.
Such a banger, bro. Love that video.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. And I it's weird because every video, like I've said this before, like in streams and stuff, like every video that I've done, it came to mind immediately, pretty much. And I was able, the way that I work is pretty much like I improv in front of the camera. I pick up like the parts that I liked of what I said. I kind of get my general idea out. Then I'll write down those things that I like that I said, and start to kind of write out the script and then film myself again. And every time I would do that and then make a video and then finish, like I felt so like on this path, like guided, like I didn't have to put too much thought into anything, right? The hardest, most difficult aspect of being a content creator for me is just finding enough time with the actions per minute in the editor booth. Editing just takes up so much time when you want to have a quality video like that, and you understand what I'm saying. But then something like derailed, like every time I would finish a video, I would always think like, what's going to be my next video? And I might have like 5 ideas, but the first idea at the top of that list always ended up being the next video that I did. So for me, it was like, I think I always knew what my next video would be. I just thought, well, what are some other things I can do too? And then I would be like, all right, fine, I have to do that video. And then I had finished, I forget which video, but I got to a point where I uploaded my final video, and then suddenly I hit like writer's block. Nothing was coming to mind. Nothing felt impactful. There was kind of a lull in the gaming sphere for me personally. I was feeling kind of burnt out. And suddenly I found myself like going through like a 2 to 3 month like writer's block where I didn't upload or write any scripts or pretty much like do that much. And it really sucked because it derailed me and like my momentum. And the whole time I was going through that, like I really, really wanted to make more content. I really wanted to be uploading videos, but there was like nothing I could do. I tried forcing myself to, all right, just come up with something. I'd be like I'd be talking to my wife, or I'd be talking to friends. Like, can you think of an idea? Like, what do they know? You know what I mean? So it's like, that wasn't working. And so it got to a point where I was like, I just got to let go and just game and just just live life, go to the gym, just work on other things. And recently with Arc Raiders, all of a sudden, like now everything's back. And, I think that's just something that we're going to kind of come across here and there. Streaming has been awesome. And now I feel like I'm back on the wagon, so to speak, like I'm back on the train, and I'm actually overwhelmed because now I have ideas that I need to get out there. And I'm like trying to balance streaming, real life, everything going on right now with my wife back, in Ecuador at the moment. I've just been isolated at the house since October. And yeah, just trying to balance all that, and now like try to push these ideas out and get more content back out and get back on the train and put out more bangers. Right now, I've kind of been putting out like Arc Raiders content, which feels for some reason to me a little lazier. And then the other thing is I'm going to be probably going out and finding work soon. So like I kind of mentioned that in my newest video I uploaded today. I got to get like a full-time job, you know what I mean? So that's going to be something that just takes away from the time that I could be investing into this. And my goal originally was like, I hope that I can do this full time. I had a savings up from my prior job and thought, I'll give it a solid year, and see if we can like make it so that we can have a sustainable income so that we don't have to rely on going back out into the workforce and working a typical 9 to 5, which is what it is, right? But that's why that derailment kind of sucked. But now that we're back on track, my hope is that, things somehow flourish in this last month. I'm staying really positive with that. and trusting God pretty much, and just doing what I have to do to be a good person, dude, and just continue the work at hand with content creation. And if I have to go get a job and do both, I have faith that I can make it all work. But it'll just be a little bit of an adjustment. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely, I feel like as content creators too, we kind of get put into this, I don't even know what to call it, like this sort of mentality where we have to keep doing shit all the time. And if you're not doing shit all the time, it just feels like you're not growing. Failing. Or it feels like you're failing. It feels like you're failing. Yeah. And that mentality, I feel like, is super destructive because it makes you put out shit that maybe you're not super stoked about, just because, everybody says, oh, you need to upload one video a week in order to grow your channel and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's true at all, by the way. But there is that like sort of mindset that a lot of people have where like you need to stay relevant and you need to keep putting out stuff. And I think that like it probably impacted you extra bad because you had just gotten quite a bit of traction from like 2 banger videos that you were clearly very passionate about. I remember, we talked about the state of, or the what your ARPG say about you stuff kind of before you even put that one out there. And I knew from the get-go, like, I was like, this one's gonna cook, brother. This one's gonna cook. But yeah, man, I think like at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with, going back to part-time work, full-time work and doing that on the side. I think like if I can be real with you, that's probably the better way to go about it, because 0 to 100 in YouTube and streaming, like it's a gamble. Like it's a gamble and it's not sustainable either. And I think that it puts you in that mindset mentality, right, that you have that isn't conducive to making like passionate, like quality, like banger videos. And so it might actually be like a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? Because now when you have the time, you're going to be like, fuck, I can't wait to make this particular, whatever it is, piece of content. And you're going to love doing it. And you're going to be excited about it. Whereas, sounds like previously you were like, I can't even think about what I want to make right now. Like, I just don't even know what to do. And so, the only thing that's going to suck for me personally is like that, what your ARPG says about you. It's like what happens for me is when I come up with an idea, and this is the balancing aspect, right? Again, is like, I get so sucked into editing and creating the video. Like once I have the idea and I get the script completed, I can't help but to just do nothing but edit and get that video out. And that video in particular, it took me like 2.5 weeks straight, every day, like 14, 12, 16 hours a day. So I'm like, dude, how am I going to be able to put out a video of that caliber while having so much of my days taken away from all that editing time? And that's kind of the big fear, I guess you could say, or the worry that I have right now with my channel and the progress of continuing to put out good content, that's of a higher quality. I don't want to start diminishing and cutting corners and feeling rushed, but I also don't want to be the guy that's putting out one video every 3 months. So that's where I'm trying to navigate in my mind, like, how am I going to go about that? The caveat to it is like, I really have enjoyed streaming. And it's funny because like, even last night, just with a raid from Everseen, Brandon, that stream last night kind of showed me like, based on what people were saying in chat, the vibes that we were feeling in there, dude, it was like, that was the first look and my favorite stream I've ever had of like, okay, dude, like I could do this and it could be very successful. And people were coming in there and everybody was like very kind, saying some really, really high-handed compliments. And it just kind of put into perspective for me, like, so I could do this. So maybe it's not going to be something full-time where, I go and I'm working a 9 to 5 and you factor in the travel time and this and that. And, maybe I don't have to do that forever. Maybe this is still something where instead of doing, solely content creation on YouTube and creating these like crazy videos that take me to 2 to 3 or 4 weeks, I can just kind of focus on streaming. I have my foundation of my YouTube channel that's still growing. And see how things go from there, because I think streaming can actually work out. Like you said, it's just being online and exposing yourself, I think, is the most critical part. And I kind of been learning that this week, like actually just be online, just be streaming, so. It's funny because I can relate to exactly what you're saying about the content, like quality and editing time. Like my videos, take a while to make too. Like when I made the PoE 1 as a PoE 2 player, it was like a week of editing, like 10 hours a day, plus the 30 hours that I'd play PoE 1. And so it's like, 2 weeks basically to make a video. Yep. And then like, for us, I like, why your content kind of stood out to me was when I watched the State of ARPG video. I was like, this guy spends time adding shit into his videos, like, the sound effects, the transitions, all that kind of stuff. And it's not the type of content that you can do frequently. And so you kind of have to, you have an avenue essentially of like, I either have to lower the quality, which you obviously don't want to do, or you have to accept the fact that this can only happen every 3 months or every 2 months or whatever is reasonable. And like listening to you describe your process, it's like, that's also not a great process. Like you don't want to just be 14 hours a day, skipping meals, not taking care of yourself. Like you have to extend that process, like probably double the amount to do it normally and healthily while also like balancing out everything else in life too. So there's nothing wrong with that though. Like I sent you that guy's channel, Nakey Jakey, where he does a video every 3 months. And when it drops, 1 million views, like guaranteed. And it's a fucking banger every time. And people will tune in because the hype builds up, right? We're like, yo, log in. YungYdoc just dropped his next video. And personally, I think I prefer that over like, oh, it's another talking head with an OBS overlay. And it's just like, and that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. It works for so many people. But I think it all kind of circles back to the initial kind of conversation we had at the beginning, which was like, what do we have fun doing? Like, I personally have fun getting into the nitty gritty and like, oh, like what meme complements exactly what my script says perfectly, or what sound effect would go here with this transition. And sometimes it takes you like 20 minutes to find something or download it and edit it and all that kind of shit. But like, I like that. And so I think that you can definitely relate to all of those aspects as well.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Yeah. I did have something off the top of my brain, Barry, but it disappeared into the nether wave. So yeah, yep, I agree.
That's fair. Glad we can be in agreement on that. Well, I know that the journey is ever changing, but I feel like, you have a long career ahead in content, and I will always be looking forward to seeing the next vid that pops up because I know that it came from like, a place of passion, and also it's probably going to have some pretty sick editing too. So that gets me.
Yeah,
and the humor aspect, bro. The humor aspect is something that I think also for me personally really stood out. Like it was, you're just a funny dude. So I think, keep it rolling with that for sure.
Yeah, comedy is a big aspect for me personally. Like one of my biggest things is making other people laugh. I grew up not laughing much or having too much joy. So I think as a coping mechanism, like a lot of stand-up comedians, I like seeing other people laugh and being the source of that, because in that moment, I feel like if you're laughing, you're happy, even for a fraction of a second. So it's something that I really enjoy, to just bring laughter to other people, because I think we can all use a little bit of laughter and a distraction from the realities of life and the questions we have and the uncertainty and all these other things. But yeah, I think I'm going to go on a 4-month cycle, like grinding your games. Every 4 months, pop out a video. And what's interesting about that too is you have to approach your content completely differently from that. So like, there's a lot of these guys, like you said, the talking head OBS videos. I'll use like Darth Microtransaction or Rax as an example. These guys are so big, they can just pop up and be like, hey, I'm just going to totally improv this whole thing. Shit, it might be on their live stream while they make the video and just tell people like, hey, I'm going to do a video right now. You guys will watch. And that's awesome for them because they're able to stay in the loop and drop videos an hour after a trailer drops or an hour after a patch drops and give their thoughts. And then they just get tons of views. And it's like people just they recognize those people for that and they just go to that. And that works not just well for them, exceptionally well for them. Whereas somebody in my position or, somebody who's working full time or doesn't have enough time, you really can't make videos like that. So if you hear about news, it's like, could I pop a video out? No, not really. I don't have time. So you have to have these like large scale, big idea, heavy topic videos that encapsulate like something entirely different, not just hey, here's a little news update of what's going on. Here's Path of Exile 2 versus Diablo 4, or you know what I mean? Something random. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm going to be locked into. It's like and the reason I'm bringing this up is like, I actually kind of like the vibe of being able to be like, oh, here's some news that last epoch, 11th Hour Games sold to Crafton. Let me pop out a video for that really quick. Like that's something I did where I learned the news and then made a comedy video about it and went over it and went into detail and, popped that out in a day and a half after the news hit. And it's like, to me, that was good enough. But, in the long run, like right now, the trajectory of my life, I'm not going to be able to really do that. So now I have to go to, like I said, these larger than life, like ideas to create these like big every 3 to 4 month uploads. And I think I'll just miss being able to also crank out something a little less intimidating. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. At the end of the day, like I'm gonna still be me. I'm still gonna try. We're gonna go at it. Whatever happens, happens. I have full faith and like trust in like the future of my life. I just take it one day at a time, and I'm not really worrying about it too much. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, it's all like, this whole thing is just, we're trying to have fun and make videos about stuff that we, think that other people would enjoy. It is funny though, because there is that like, I guess that FOMO, I guess, of like at the beginning, you see all those videos from your favorite creators, you listed some of them where their videos do exceptionally well. And I think that one thing that we always talk about is like timing, right? Like, you said in the day and a half that it took you to make that video, which was, I'll be real, like much more well edited and funnier than all of the other recaps about, the Crafton acquisition of Last Epoch. Like there was already 100 videos that came out from bigger creators covering that exact same thing. And so it's kind of funny that you said, like, as a small creator, you're kind of not locked into specific types of content, but like you kind of are, because those are the things that will get your channel like views and recognition way better than the stuff that is way easier to do and like less effort. But you just have to put way more effort in, which is,
a ton of effort. You're a one-man team, and like Darth Microtransaction reacting to your video and my video. It's like, I've gotten so many people now that have popped into my stream or a YouTube section and been like, because of that one video that I put that much dedication into. And it makes me realize like, oh, if you keep putting out videos just like that at that caliber, then you will undoubtedly grow. There's like nothing, there's no doubt in your mind about it, because 100%. People are coming in and be like, yo, I saw your video from Darth Microtransaction's reaction of your video and just had to come pop in stream and say hello. Like that was such a good video. Like I'm getting a ton of people saying that, but nobody's like, hey, I saw your crafting video, I had to hop in. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody gave a fuck about that video. It's like the big heavy hitters, the big bangers is like what people is giving you the exposure for people to then come and be like, yo, that was dope. I love that. Give me more of that. And you're like, I can't, dude, because that took me 5 years to make.
And it killed me. It took 20 years off my life.
I literally was, I had to go do rehab for my back because I was sitting so much, dude.
Oh yeah. But it's funny because as I talk to, many creators like yourself and others, I think that, a general like cohesive statement I think everyone has, because at the end of every podcast, I always ask like, what are some pieces of advice you can give to, other people to help them on their journey and stuff like that. And I think that helps, inspire people. I've had multiple people come into my stream that have been like, yo, like I started making YouTube content or streaming because of listening to your podcast and like hearing, about your journey and the advice from other people and stuff like that. It really like made me want to do it, which is fucking awesome. But one thing that also kind of sticks out for me is like the return on investment from like YouTube content is like so much better than streaming. And, we've talked about this before, but it really does showcase like, imagine if you spent however many hours it took you to make that video streaming, you'd probably see, very little significant improvement in the, followers on Twitch or whatever. But that one video that you spent all that time on now lives eternally on YouTube and can be reacted to eternally as well. And so it kind of makes me want to just like, even stream even less, even though the problem is it's so fun and it's so nice to just like hang out with the homies, listen to beats, play video games, like all that shit too. So it's just a good time. So it's
streaming is super fun, dude. Yeah. And like not having to be so scripted is also nice too. Like I like a good script because most of my scripts are, like I said, it's pretty much just me ripping improv and then turning it into a form of a script and then kind of now I'm saying what I said already, but like saying it again with more a linear, like easier digestible, information for the audience kind of thing. Because otherwise, like what happens in my improv is I'm like going off on tangents, or I'm repeating myself too much. And so I like when things are pretty clean and concise and you get the point across as much as possible and you're not rambling too much. And I don't know why I told you that right now, but you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, dude.
Are you telling me that I ramble too much, bro? Is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah, I'm sick of your shit, Blaze.
God damn it.
Damn it. Just kidding, dude. I love you, bro.
I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, so, we're at like an hour 10. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight, but, I wanted to see how you're doing, how you're feeling, check in with you.
I'm feeling pretty good, dude. When's like the freak off going to happen, Wait, what?
That's later. That's later.
That's later. Okay.
Yeah, right, later.
Well, I've got my magic wand. Okay. So listen, I'm good though, dude. If you want to keep going, or if you need to end it because I'm just boring.
No, dude. I feel like yeah. I got some more. I got some more stuff we could talk about. We could yap about.
Yeah, dude.
And so going back to gaming, I just wanted to ask you a sort of a general, broad question. Like, so Arc Raiders has recaptured your attention right now. PoE 2, you've been playing quite a bit as well. Is there anything on the horizon for you that sort of got you really like, I cannot wait for that game to come out so I can play it?
Ooh, I'm really looking forward to Hello Kitty Island Adventure 3. They're finally coming out with number 3, dude. And no, I'm just kidding. To be honest with you, so I don't know why, but this is the first one that's popping off on my brain is... don't judge me for this, okay? Yeah. The Burning Crusade Classic. I've got old homies that I've known and been playing World of Warcraft with for a very long time that are all up in arms about classic TBC, which, by the way, I could have sworn we already did that like 3 years ago.
We did. This is the second time they've done it, Blizzard, right? Fucking bastards.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to play or not. I've had a buddy of mine, like one of my best friends, like my brother. We played every expansion together, grew up with him, played Diablo 2 together growing up. And if I would play, I would play for him, and play with him. The only thing is you would have to, like right now, you can make a character, get it to level 60 and have it prepared for when the servers basically go on to the next expansion, which is DBC. So if I were to start, now I would be behind. And I think it's dropping like mid-January or something, dude. So I don't know if that's enough time to level a character to 1 to 60, but I would have to literally know life it. And like, I'm still enjoying Arc Raiders. I still have content to create. I still have Path of Exile 2 streaming. So I don't know if I can really dive into that game, dude, as much as I miss WoW, just the feeling of WoW, you know what I mean? Like the nostalgia, like the way it feels to control your character, all the different original soundtracks to the game, Baron's chat, I don't know, dude, like, there's a calling that I think will always be there to return to Azeroth, and so I don't know if that's right now. What I'm praying for is that an official Classic Plus will come out and things will have been like in all down seasons. I won't have any other interest. Path of Exile 2 we'll be done with it for a little bit. We're waiting on like 1.5 or some shit, And here comes World of Warcraft Classic Plus announcement, and we're all ready to go and play that. I mean, I hope that's the case. But yeah, there's no immediate game that comes to mind, though I'm sure I could find something. So what about you, dude? Is there anything up on your radar that you're kind of excited about?
That's a good question. Well, kind of to build off of what you're saying first and foremost, I would never judge you, good sir, for wanting to play like TBC. Like, that was the version of WoW that like really like hooked me. Like when I started playing WoW, I hit 60 on vanilla the day that Burning Crusade came out. And I was like, so I never got to play vanilla endgame, but I played the fuck out of TBC. And god damn, bro, it was some good times. And if I didn't have anything else going on and I could dedicate, I think it's like 200 hours to hit level 60, like on vanilla WoW. Like that's like how many hours it takes to get like from 1 to 60. Like it's a time commitment. It's a journey, bro. Like
it's about 5 days for me.
5 days. Like 5
days sitting down at the computer, like all day, 5 days.
Like 24 hours. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'll sleep, but yeah, it's like 14 hours a day for about 5 days. Yeah.
That's you're a grinder. But yeah,
well, leveling is my favorite aspect of World of Warcraft, dude. And can I just say something, by the way, for any people who are listening and are big WoW players, I want to share something that I've always loved. This is like one of the only achievements that I love to tout, because in vanilla WoW, I was 12 or 13 years old, around there. I was in a guild called Catalyst. on Feather Moon. It was an RP server. We were top 25 guilds in the world and the only guild in my server to down Naxxramas 40 before the new expansion. And that is the only claim to fame that I really ever care to share, because it's like a ancient like whisper, you know, like nobody, you'll never meet another person probably that was like actually there, you know, taking down Kel'Thuzad pre-TBC, dude. But I was fucking 13 out there grinding my soul away, dude, waiting for a spot to get in the old, what do you call that? Ziggurat, floating ziggurat up there. And yeah, that's like my claim to fame, dude.
I
was there for like the opening of Entourage and all that.
I respect you so much more.
You know what's funny? I got a buddy of mine. He played WoW all those years too. And when he learned that, I worked with him in Miami. I was bartending. He was a server, and I told him that, and he was like, "Bro." He's like, "That's the coolest shit." He's like, "Holy fuck, you're like badass." And he got so hyped over it, and he was like, forever, like just like glazes the shit out of me. And I'm like, "That's so funny, bro." But I'm like, "Yes, I deserve it."
Absolutely. I mean, dude, I never even got to step foot in like Molten Core or like any of the.
Oh, you missed out, dude.
I know, dude. But I got to fly on like fucking dragons and shit in TBC, so that was pretty hype. You know what I mean? Like flying mounts.
TBC, yeah, those are some good raids, man. Yeah. Karazhan was some of the best raids.
Karazhan was super fun. So yeah, man, like, no judgments there. For me, like, they're not necessarily like games that are. I mean, there's one game. So me and the lady. And there's no deadline on this, so there's no date or anything. But me and the lady play a lot of this game called Stardew Valley. Super fucking awesome game. One of my favorite games of all time. And so the guy who made that, so I don't know if you know anything about this game, but for the people listening who don't know, like it's made by one dude. So one dude made this entire fucking game by himself in his room. It's like he did the art.
That guy's rich.
No, he was basically working a part-time job as a theater usher to pay the bare minimum that he could pay so that he could work on this game for 4 years. Now
he's rich now, though. That's what. Right?
He's insanely rich now.
Yeah, he must be rich now.
Before he was not. He was. Some would say he was poor. Actually.
Yeah.
But he's actually a huge inspirational figure of mine, because he just did it, man. He just followed his passion. He followed what he believed in. He had this vision for this game. And so anyway, so he's working on a new game, and we have no idea when it's coming out, but I think that is the game that like I can't wait for. It's called The Haunted Chocolatier, and he's doing it all by himself again, and so it could be like 2030 when it comes out. But yeah, I've just had so much fun like playing Stardew Valley. It's a game that me and the lady have bonded over quite a bit. We've been playing it for like 5 years together almost, and we saw the symphony orchestra like of the soundtrack. So like he made all the music for the game, and now he has this like orchestra traveling the world who's done like an orchestral version of the soundtrack, and that shit hit hard, homie.
Wow!
When I sat down and listened to that, it was powerful. So that
is quite the accomplishment for that guy, dude. I didn't know that. That's insane.
It is insane. It's fucking nuts.
That's like Tolkien writing Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
100%. Like it is very, very inspiring. And like if you watch interviews with this dude, he is just the most chill, down to earth fucking dude ever. Like you'd think that like he'd have an ego or something, being like, yeah, I made this game that's sold tens of millions of copies, and I made it by myself, so I'm a Giga Chad and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm just glad people enjoyed it. I thought it was gonna fucking fail when I made it, but it actually popped off. That was his actual like.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah, it's cool, man. So
he stayed humble, dude. You can't buy that or sell that. You know, it's like it's either in you or it's not. I feel like, you know, I've always said like, dude, for me, for me, like one of my favorite characters in the Disney franchise is Gaston, because I think he's hilarious because he's just so overly like cocky. Or like somebody else that I could kind of as an analogy compare to would be like Dr. Disrespect, the like over the top like cocky like I'm the best persona, to me is really funny as long as the person at the core of who they are actually isn't like that at all and it's just a character. Then it makes it so much more funny, dude. To me, like I love that. And so I don't like, for me, if I ever became big, I know I won't change just because of the walk of life that I've had, you know, coming up from nothing. And so, I just feel like I would use that money or fame or whatever it is to just like try my best to make the world a better place. You know what I mean? Be comfortable for myself and like, you know, take care of the people I love, but then, you know, use that power to shift it to other people who really need it. So that's like kind of my ultimate goal, is to somehow make this whole thing, like even now as I'm sitting here speaking to you, this is a chain or a link in the chain in an attempt to someday reach a position where I can help other people. So we'll see what happens.
So what would your like way you would want to go about that be, if you had any ideas?
Yeah, like I mean, I've like thought about, you know, not to bring religion into it, but like being a youth pastor. But genuine, the reason why is because of the childhood that I had. So I won't get too deep into it, but you know, very traumatic. And so for me, I would want to just enlighten and shed wisdom and comfort to people who may be going through a similar situation or scenario that I did when I was a kid, to let them know that like that's not, you know, that's not how it's always going to be, and that there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, and you have your whole life ahead of you. I think I would really want to focus on like kids who are less fortunate, and help them in any way that I can. But then also, you know, people who feel like, you know, they have no purpose in life, try to help them find that purpose and self-discovery, and you know, seeing the good in the world, and seeing the beauty that this life really is, the gift that it is, to be honest with you. You know, we're all here right now. If you're listening, dude, you woke up today, you know, it's another day to be on this earth, man. And I thank God for it every day. And I thank God for who I am. And, you know, I just want to spread that to people. I want people to not be so pessimistic and focus on the negatives and the narratives that are all on the internet and all these bullshit articles and the things that they're trying to, you know, spoon feed us. You know, take a step back and just be thankful for your life and see the good, you know, in life. Because when you start to do that, when you have that perspective shift, and you set up boundaries with people that are doing you wrong, or you know, not, you know, serving a positive influence on you, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, you just see the world differently, you know, you just completely, everything shifts, you know, the homeless guy on the corner of the street, man, like you look at that person as a human being and genuinely wish the best for him and want to help him out. You know, somebody who's being judgmental, you start to like pick up like, man, that person's being very judgmental. What is that really doing for that person? You know, man, just being a good person. I don't know. It's like something that I've behind the scenes, you know, like I'm like in my 15th week of attending a church that doesn't necessarily have a label, but is filled with a lot of really good people. And it's been life-changing for me recently. And it's just helped me to kind of see life in a different way. And it's something I've always kind of held within me, in my heart. But I'm really been like, not just doubling down, but quadrupling down, dude. And yeah, but back to your original question, I think I would probably start there, is just try to help people kind of see the light in the world. I don't know how I would accomplish that.
I think you already are, man. Like, I think that like your content is a way to do that. And I think that it already does that. Like, you know, we talked about this earlier, but like the humor aspect, like, you know, you said like because of the traumatic past that you had, you like to help others, like, you know, just laugh. Like, dude, I feel like that is such a special thing in itself. Like, even if you're able to make a random stranger who's watching your videos laugh and just have fun, like for whatever it is, your videos are a little too long, maybe cut down the intros and stuff like that. Or like, you know, 10 to 20 minutes, right? Like, I'm just playing.
Real.
But yeah, like, dude, I think you're doing that with the content already. And I think that like, you know, it's something that it's already achievable right now, even if you don't have a fucking, you know, 10,000 people watching your Twitch or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like, I guarantee you that there are people out there, out of the 100,000 people or whoever watched those videos, who for a brief glimpse, like just was solely like invested in that and probably enjoyed it and had fun and like saw the, you know, the light, I guess, that you kind of emanate from your content, man. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah. I don't know where my content's going to go from here. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm even, and everybody don't judge me on this. I'm even trying to like cut back swearing, which is the hardest thing, bro. Coming from working out on the open waters, like sailing with sailors, dude, being a bartender in the service industry for 10 years, growing up around it in my house and at school. It's like, dude, you hear it all over the place with like secular music and everything. It's so hard to break free from. And it's just ingrained in me. Like the F-bombs just come out, if I let it happen.
What's wrong with swearing in your eyes that you want to cut back on it? Is it so you can be more marketable? You can get better sponsors. Disney, Hello Kitty.
No.
They want to sponsor YungYdoc. What's
I think it's kind of like for me, I look at it kind of like the N-word. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of people feel like the N-word that like holds no power. It's only a word, and it's like you define the power that you give it, right? But like, I think what it comes down to is like, well, somebody out there is actually hurt by it somehow, and maybe that's a good person, and so maybe just out of respect for somebody else, I just won't say it. And if there's even one person that feels that way, and it's easy for me to just not say it, then I won't say it. Even if I'm singing a song, you know what I mean? I censor myself or whatever it is. Dan, what'd you say though again? Because I had another thing on the tip of my brain. What did you say right now?
Well, I think that's an interesting point that you just mentioned. But yeah, I just wanted to ask. So,
why do I choose to not curse?
Yeah, what's your reasoning for wanting to like cut back on that?
Okay, so to my point I was saying right now is I think there are a lot of people out there that hear these words and are actually harmed by it. And like, for example, somebody might be tuning in and be watching and be like, man, like I would love to watch you, but like I've got my son here with me, or, those aren't words that I want to hear and reflect who I am as a person. And I don't want to pick up on those bad habits, because ultimately the word like cursing, and this is going to become more religious, and this is more of a personal belief that, not everybody is going to agree with. And I respect that 100%. But essentially, like your words and what you speak, it's like a rudder on a boat. Like you're steering, your life kind of with your words and how you speak. And when you say, GD, for example, and Jesus Christ, and you're saying these things, for example, as like a derogatory or like a bad thing is happening to you, you're essentially like cursing that thing. And that's what like the term curse words comes from. And so I think like for me, dude, I've cursed a lifetime, you know what I mean? Like more than most people should. And I've said some insane things. Yeah, I've said it 100,000 times. So I'm not trying to be here and be hypocritical or cast judgment to anybody on it. I never will. And I will still hang out with the boys, hearing them curse. But it's for me a personal thing that I'm trying to cut back on, because I think that ultimately I'm just trying to kind of clean up the way that I think and speak. And if that's translating to a more broader audience so that more people can kind of enjoy my content, and mind you, I have a long way to go. I was just streaming last night. I dropped the F-bomb countless times. So that's what I'm saying. It might come off hypocritical. I'm trying, dude, is all I'm saying. I'm just trying to cut back, because I know that somewhere out there is
on the
positive
stream, dude. We got to get a curse counter now. And then over time, we can track the data, see that number go down, progress.
Dude, okay, yes. Okay, I have a homie named Frankie. I don't know if he's here watching or not, but we started holding each other accountable for it, because I was like, do you hear ourselves sometimes? Like we'll pass like voice messages. This is a guy that I've known for a very long time in my life, real life. And I'm like, do you like listen to ourselves? Like listen to these voice messages that we'll like pass to each other, dude. We're like dropping so much, like we just sound like trash. Like we're just saying so many F-bombs and shit and bitch and fuck and all. And it's like, yo, dude, let's hold each other accountable. So we started doing a thing where every time that we would say the F word, we would have to do like 5 to 10 push-ups. Or then we got to a point where we're like, all right, we got to cut it back and do 1 push-up every time we say it, because it became a point where it was like, dude, we're doing like 200 push-ups, 300 push-ups a day. And it quickly made you realize like, oh my God, like let's try to replace these words with something a little more intellectually, I don't know, interesting and engaging, like we're just using it for everything. And if I know that somewhere out there, somebody does judge me for it and thinks like, oh, this guy's trashy, this guy's ghetto, this guy's ratchet, whatever. Like he's got a trash mouth on him. Like I'm not going to watch. It's like, I don't want somebody to come watch my stream and think that just because of a few words. For me personally, at the core of who I am, I don't really think that these words hold a lot of value in the sense of like my characteristics, my morals, and who I am as a person at the end of the day. But if somebody else out there, which it's on them that they judge me for it, has this notion that, it's their first time coming to my stream and they hear me talking like this, and then they bounce and dip out and miss out on all the cool and good reasons why you would want to tune into my channel, then I might have to cut that back a little bit. That's all. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as long as it feels natural for you, I think that's totally fine. I mean, dude, here's the thing. People are going to judge you no matter what. Like, if people are going to judge you if you swear too much, people are going to judge you if you don't swear at all, because you're going to sound maybe in their perspective like a little wishy-washy or whatever. It's like whatever you do, there's going to be some sort of someone out there who doesn't like the way that you go about it. All I'll say is like, you know, if that's part of your journey, man, and like you want to cut back for your own reasons, you know, if you want to like improve yourself, you know, I think that's great. Just, you know, don't do it for anybody else. Do it for you. You know what I mean? Like you know, people will watch you because you are you. And I think that whatever feels authentically you is the way to go about doing it, for sure.
Fuck yeah.
God damn. No, I think that's cool, bro. I think that's
yeah.
You know, kind of wrapping back to the helping people sort of conversation that we're having before. Like, dude, if I ever made it big and like had a bunch of money, like, you know, whatever, I would think I would try and make a game, man. Like, I was just thinking, like, to your point, like you were like, how can I help people and stuff like that. And it kind of made me think about how Stardew Valley, I think, has helped me and the lady connect, like playing video games together, and how like it's weird. So it's a cozy game, but people describe it as almost like a therapy game. Like, it's there to like, it's like a warm hug when you're feeling like shit. You go into,
I could see that.
You go onto the farm and you just got your chickens and your, you know, it's like that escape that like a lot of people want to have that you can't do now for whatever reason. Like, you're not going to go buy a farm and wherever the fuck and start raising animals. I wish. Right? So like Eric Baroni has like given the world this ability to kind of just like escape the shit in life and like just live a simple life. And I think that's like really fucking cool. And so like, I don't know, something about the power of video games for me anyway has like, it's given me that like escapism. It's also like allowed me to, you know, just it has been like a form of like therapy, I guess, in some weird way. It's going to sound crazy to say, but and so yeah, I think that would be something that I'd be interested in doing. And like, hell, it even could be like a, I don't know, action RPG or something like that. But I don't even know where I would start with that. So
just call me up for a voiceover, dude.
100% you'll be in the game, dude. 100%,
yeah.
bro. Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Well, we're at like an hour and a half. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me personally or talk about before we sort of wrap up all these funny conversations?
Do you have any crazy video ideas down the pipeline that you're willing to share, or maybe a new podcast guest aside from, you know, Try's next visit?
Okay, so 2 answers. The first answer is right now I've really been focusing on PoE 2 content, and so I want to do more stuff. I actually offered to pay my friend. I actually have to follow up on him with this about this because I don't know if he's doing this or not, but I offered him some money to basically play the game as a brand new player. He's never played PoE before, or PoE 2 or any. He's played some action RPGs. He's played like Diablo and stuff, but and then he has to play it blind. So he cannot look at a single build guide. He cannot watch a single YouTube video. He just has to play the fucking game for whatever it is, 30 hours, I think we talked about, and then make notes about every single thing he had an issue with. So like, did he have an issue with skill gems? Did he have an issue with the passive tree? Did he have an issue with combat? And then do a series of like new player focused videos, kind of as a like what Zizarin did, basically like a university, but for PoE 2, where like you can learn the basics. And this isn't like a crazy video. This is just like, how can I help new players understand this game? And so that was an idea that we were kind of cooking on. I don't know if he's actually played the game or not, so I have to check in with him. But in terms of like grandeur, video essay, like big banger content, stuff like that, nothing at the moment. But I do think that like for me personally, I know that when the game comes out, there's going to be this huge influx of new players. And I do love like the teaching aspect and the guide aspect of making content too, as much as I just memed on it with my most recent video. I don't know if you've seen that, the monkey build guide video, but
Yep.
I think it is cool. And so, yeah, that's kind of the concept that I'm working on. And then what was the other part of the question, actually? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, that's fine. But I do want to say something. I know how you can save money on your current video idea.
Okay, tell me.
You get Brit to play, and that way you don't have to pay nobody.
Dude, I know, but I can't put her through that, dude. The poor thing. She needs all the help that she can get. I love her to death, but man, she's a you know, I think I carry her in every single video.
She's not ARPG inclined.
No. She's I think in the time that we've been dating, I've taught her how to play WASD video games because she's never like had those games before, like playing on a PC or anything like that. So it would be like I would have to make a guide on like how to move your character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and people don't realize that there's so many people out there like that. My mom and my dad were watching my stream one day. My mom called me up and she's like, Cody, you're like, so everything's happening so fast and you're like reading the chat. And she's like, I was like, yeah, no, I know, Mom. Yeah, that's what I do. And she's like, no, but like, you're really good. And I go, I know it looks that way to you. I go, for most people that are in my sphere, in the gaming sphere, I'm just an average dude playing a video game, right? Like we're all so like blindsided or like forget how somebody would try to pick up this game and be just so overwhelmed. They just don't even know how to move around in the tutorial. Like, when I got to pick up an item, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, oh, just pick that up off the floor. They're gonna be like, what are you talking about? You know, and then how do I even do that? Oh, I use my mouse too. Like, you know, what is the mouse and keyboard? So most people, the average human being is like completely unaware of how to do any of this, oblivious.
Sure.
But my second part of my question was, do you have another guest coming on that's like, oh man, like, you know, you got Asmongold coming down the pipeline, you know, something like that.
I don't know if I could ever, I won't say I won't ever have Asmongold. I mean, Asmongold, if you're listening, come on the pod, please. But so actually, it's funny that you asked that. So Ziggy D was somebody that I actually reached out to on Discord. I'm sure you know Ziggy D if you're in the PoE space and stuff like that. And so he didn't respond to me initially. It was launch week, so I assumed he'd been really busy playing the game. And so I followed up with him today. And then he actually popped into my stream, hit me with a follow and said, I'm keen. Let's do it probably after the holidays. And so I'm very excited about that interview because I think there's a lot of cool lore and story there. I mean, he's been a figure within the PoE community for a very long time. He has a working relationship with GGG. He goes there every patch and talks and interviews Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts and stuff like that. So that is one that I'm extremely excited about that nobody knows about until right now. So yeah, very, very
nice.
Hyped up for that
Exclusive.
one. Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
Interviewing interviewers on that one for sure.
You heard it here first. The Passive Tree Podcast, episode 30. YungYdoc got it out of him.
Yeah.
It's the least I could do for you, gentlemen.
Yeah. What about you, man? As we wrap up, is there anything that I know you just put out a video, which guys will obviously be linking all of YDoc stuff in the video description, but what if anything are you like thinking about making? Like, do you want to make more Arc Raider stuff? Like, is there a PoE video in there somewhere? What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. So I mean, the video that I uploaded today, I'll be honest with you boys, like I'm not like that, like it's not that impressive. It's just kind of like I had the footage, I did all the work to film it. Some of this stuff's kind of funny. If people generally like Arc Raiders, then hopefully they'll click on it, like kind of had seen my prior video and then understand. But I think somebody going into my video that I just dropped tonight, they're going to kind of be like, huh, like it's not fully hitting. But if you saw my first video, then it's just going to add to that funny factor. And there's been enough people for my subscriber, list that have seen that video, I think. So it'll do okay. But it's not something I'm like necessarily like super proud of, but I just like, again, I thought I had the footage. It could be like just to add on and it's just something to upload. I even put in the video description, like low key, this video is like the context if you want to know what's going on in this video, and low key, it's also better than this one anyway. Just being real with people, dude. And then the third Arc Raiders video, it's going to be kind of like the final installment of like the Dave Matthews jokes. In the proximity chat with that is going to be a full 30-minute round. I'm going to chop it up, excuse me, so that it's not like just, deadpan in certain segments, but I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. But it is a one singular round of Arc Raiders where I meet a guy who has a baby and I hear it in the chat. And this is like the day or day of Thanksgiving. And you can hear the baby and like the wife in the background, and he's like, I got to go AFK. So the guy goes AFK. So I go on to protect him from like snitches and all sorts of arc that are flying by. He's on the roof and he's like crouched, and I go on to protect this guy, and like other raiders are coming in trying to like maybe kill him and like take advantage of him. And then another guy joins me, and he's kind of sketchy at first, but that guy that joins me in protecting this guy ends up going with me on this like wild like GTA mission. Like the whole thing just unravels into this like crazy plot twist at the end. And I want to like preface that video with an intro of basically like saying like, this is what I think it's all about. and the round in itself kind of encapsulates just the vibes of like how far you can take proximity chat and like role playing essentially with other people. So it's going to be leaning into the role playing element, and that'll be like my final Arc Raiders video. And then I'm going to maybe consider doing because of all the drama of everybody hating 0.4, I'm going to do a video potentially of why I think 0.4 is great, or why I'm having a lot of fun with it. And it's because of hardcore. So the premise behind that video will be like, hardcore is awesome. I gave it a try. You should too. Also, stop bitching and crying. 0.5 will come soon. Go do something else in your life.
How do I endorse this video, bro? Oh, God damn. Yeah. This man is spreading the good word of hardcore here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another converted player here. I love to see it. Love to hear it, man.
Yeah, man.
That's dope. That's dope. I have like one other video that I want to make, but it requires me to hit level 100 in like HCSSF. And it would be like my perspective on the game after basically doing that grind. And I'm not close yet. I'm only 96, and like that's not even halfway.
Only.
Yeah, it's not even halfway, brother. Like you got to be level 98 to be halfway, which is fucking insane.
That is insane.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's like the other video that I want to make. I just want to have that like achievement, you know what I mean? Even though there's like no in-game cosmetic, there's no title, there's no like in-game reward for this like milestone, but I don't know, that's like something that I really want to do because I know I can. So I think that's also something that I'm going to be working on as well.
I would set that for 1.0. You
think so? Not for 0.4.
Yeah, for me personally, I would set that for 1.0. I feel like because that would be like the grand opening. It would be more impactful. There'd be more players, like you said. Like people are still going to be coming into the game. It's going to have probably the highest, amount of players that it's seen at its peak. And yeah, I think I would wait for 1 point. But of course, though, that's a great idea. By the way, I kind of see. I can already kind of. In my own brain, I'm already thinking of like ways that you can approach that video. So I think you got something there. But if you want to do in 0.4, you got my support, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's a type of video that not many people have done. Like there's this one guy named Sarge2 who hit level 100 in HCSSF, I believe in 0.1, I think, or 0.2. It might have been 0.1. So like the first league ever. And it was just like, you once you've done that grind, which is just like thousands of maps, and you just have like such a good perspective on, the game. Like you understand character development, you understand defenses, you understand how the end game progression is and stuff like that. And so I think you can provide some really insightful experience. And I think that would be actually helpful for like not only GGG, but for like the players, because there aren't many people that have done that, bro. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah,
it'd be cool for sure.
No, I think it would be awesome, dude. I'd say go for it, dude.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we did the damn thing, bro. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, if you
thank you, Try, for not making it.
Yes, shout out to Talking to Try. Hope you're feeling better, homie. If you guys listen today on YouTube or Twitch, I appreciate you. This was very much a last minute podcast, as I said in the beginning of the video, and we just winged it, man. We just had a totally unscripted chat, which is very easy to do with the homie YungYdoc. We've done this quite a few times off stream as well, and just yapped for way too long. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, dude. Thanks for letting me slide in at the last minute.
I appreciate you. So yeah, man, at this time, just shout yourself out. Where can we find you? And maybe do you have like a streaming schedule that you're up to right now, or where can we find you when you're live as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a streaming schedule, but I'm trying my best to pretty much stream every single night. So I'll probably go live in like an hour, or I may even just go live like in the next 30 minutes. But until I get that job, like I said, man, I'm just going to be cranking them out, streaming as much as possible. And if I'm not streaming, you can be confident that your boy YungYdoc is behind the scenes trying to cook up another video for you guys, a little content for your head top, keep you entertained, distracted, and busy with your lives. And that's pretty much all I got, man. If you guys want to come check me out, we're hardcore solo self-found right now, Plant Druid. And we have, I think, Apex of Filth to take down tonight. Big, what did I call her earlier? Big Bitch Queen, or Queen Big Bitch. Queen Big Bitch.
Definitely a name that is not conducive to your cutting back of curse words, but I'm going to let it slide, bro. I'm not going to judge.
Thank you. I'll do my push-ups.
All right. Much love, brother. And thank you guys again for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Peace. All right, everybody, that wraps it up for this episode of the Passive Tree Podcast. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe for more PoE2 content. I have a bunch more episodes of the podcast lined up with some really great guests, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And until next time, happy blasting, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.